So hi, Ellie.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you
Oh,
for having me.
no, it is my pleasure. It's my pleasure. You know that you are one of the people, one of the people that I most admire as a teacher and as a human being.
Oh.
And it is so nice to be your friend and have you here today to talk about,
Oh, thank you.
people. People that we admire. Yeah. So yeah,
That's exactly the topic that we have for today, right?
yeah, exactly.
And I was told that it was going to be my opportunity to get to know Taylor Swift because I only know that she's like a nice face and she has also very nice music, but I don't know much about her. And we'll dive into that. We'll talk about her a little bit. But I would like first to ask you some questions about that. Not
Hmm.
about Taylor Swift, but about admiration.
Perfect.
And when you hear this word, admiration, and to admire this verb, what comes to mind? What images spring in your mind when you think of that?
That's an interesting question.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, I when I hear the word admiration, um, I think about people who had overcome
Mhm.
very strong negative problems, but how can I say this? They got to the other side stronger.
Mhm.
And when I hear the word admiration, yeah, I think about normal people who have accomplished
Yeah, who have accomplished.
um, incredible things in life.
Hmm.
Yeah, what about you? What springs to
Uh,
your mind?
yeah, what springs you in your mind? And in my case, actually, that's a problem I usually have because I like asking questions, and then when people ask me back those questions, I ask them back the same question, or I
Yeah.
kind of develop a little bit. And I would like to ask you again, because you said
Mm.
like people who overcome hardships and who get to the other side maybe stronger, and usually it's a bad situation that they go through. And then you said that they do incredible things. But in your opinion, what is an incredible thing for someone to do? Because, for example, um,
Mm.
in my case, for example, I think it's incredible that I can do Pilates 3 days in a week.
Yeah, but
For me, it's incredible.
that's incredible.
I'm, I'm like, oh no, I can't, I can't. I thought that I wasn't able to do that, but now I see, oh, okay, maybe I can stretch something, some limits. And I would like to know, for you, what's incredible? Because do you have very high and lofty standards, or do you think, oh, maybe incredible depends on each one, or do you have a black and white um, standard for that?
Yeah, I was told that you are incredible at asking questions. Yeah, actually, we,
Not so
we
much.
yeah, we have shared some students over the years, and
I
when they are
love them
talking,
all.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, no, you?
oh,
What did you
I
say?
love them. I love them all. It's like,
Yes, 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 our shared students. Yeah,
yes.
no, I thought you were saying that you lost them all, and I was like,
Oh, no, 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 no,
oh,
no, no,
you
no.
love them all. Sorry, bad
Yes.
English.
No problem. It's not bad English. It's just like we have some noise in the communication.
Exactly, that's it.
Hmm,
Yeah,
hmm.
thank you.
Uh,
So
you're welcome.
yeah, so
Huh.
they are always telling how great questions you ask them, and now I get to experiment this. So oh,
Mm,
that's cool. So what
okay.
is incredible? Well, incredible things for me, like you said, it's to push your limits. Maybe incredible for me will be a day that I want to stay in bed because I'm feeling so depressed, but I managed to get up and work
Mm,
in a very difficult day, and I
mhm.
managed to take a shower and
Oh.
eat, and yeah, that's incredible in a day that I thought that would not possible, that was not possible at all.
Mhm.
So incredible things for me is, yeah, it is to do something that it is a little bit beyond, can I say beyond your limit, a little,
Yes,
to
it
push
goes like
yourself
above and beyond. Mhm.
above and beyond. Yeah, so that must be incredible. It doesn't have to be like, I don't know, becoming an astronaut and going out of space, and
Mm.
that it is incredible too, but it is not something really like a big thing. It depends on what it is big. For me, like this project, I'm having like these 31 conversations in English. I'm studying every day. I'm like learning new words and pushing myself. That is incredible. It is like the most incredible thing I've done this year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, really?
well, yes. What have you done this year?
I think that like the fact that we have survived up to this point is incredible because this year is not easy and it has not been easy on anybody.
No.
And I think that, yeah, in addition to that, like surviving with some sanity, right? Even though like sometimes there's a book I really love by Shirley Jackson. And the first line, it's The Haunting of the Hill House. It's a very great book. It's horror book, okay, but it's good. And the first line reads like, no living organism can live under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids, um, some believe, dream. And it's like we have to dream, we have to go a little bit out of our everyday life so we can survive. And you're doing that, and you're doing this project with the 31 lessons. It's because you're turning 31, right?
It is, yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that too. I will like I'm inspired by you.
Oh, wow.
And
Cool.
I think it's a great thing. It's incredible, yeah. And you know, when I asked that question about like being incredible, it's just because I would like to clarify whether you have this black and white standard, because some people say, oh, okay, surviving is okay because it's expected, or you could maybe become an astronaut or learn 10 languages in a month, something like that, and they would say, oh, that's incredible. But everyone has their own incredible and admirable features, right?
Yeah.
And since we are talking about that fact, I would like to know, we are talking about incredible admiration. And when we talk about things that we do, we have one kind of thinking, we have an idea, specific idea. And when we talk about people in specific, in your opinion, what makes someone admirable or someone you can look up to and say, I'm inspired by this person?
Yeah. I think there has to be sort of like, how can I say, relatability? You think
Yeah,
relatability with that
I think
person?
so.
Is it a word?
Because you can have a rapport, you can develop a rapport with this person, right?
Yeah.
You can relate to this person, yes.
Yeah. So you have to be able, in some extent, to relate with that person. At the same time, this person has done things that you thought were impossible, but they did it. So if you're going through some similar situation, if someone you admire, you can relate to, has accomplished that thing, it is maybe possible, probably, yeah, certainly possible for you. Yeah.
Aha. So, and now I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to give you some contrarian opinions. I agree with most of the things that you say.
Okay.
So we have to add some spice to the conversation because, okay, so you say like it's relative. Oh, it's relative because everyone has their own standards and their own capabilities, so they can achieve things according to their own skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there is this relatability. I like this word. It's long.
Yeah.
But I like this word as to what this person is doing too. But in my opinion, we have to have black and white standards, because if it's too vague and too nebulous, we don't know exactly what we are looking for in a person for this person to be admirable or to become at least an example for other people in the society. For example, I believe that if you are a great, let's say a great engineer, this is a good thing, or a great lawyer, but you have a dog and you don't treat your dog well,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot be admirable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you think that we should set black and white standards for people in this case?
Oh, well, in this case, yes, definitely yes. I read something, someone posted on Facebook that when you're dating someone, you should in your first date you should watch out to some behaviors for some
Mm.
behaviors. Be
Yeah, like
careful.
watch out for some.
Yeah,
Usually for some, keep an eye out for something.
yeah, keep an eye out for something. For example, how this person treats the waiter, or the waiter, the waitress in a restaurant, how this person treats an animal, how this person approaches some topics such as sexism, if this person is a racist or homophobic. So there are things that I believe to be black and white. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to admire someone who happens to be racist, homophobic, treat animals bad. I mean, I would even question if someone does not love an animal. I mean, I mean, I mean, a dog, especially because cats, I understand. Because cats, I mean, I would love someone who loves cats because they are not easy. I mean, for me, they're easy to love, but it has to take someone really special to understand the complexity of a dog, of a cat. But
Yes.
a dog is such a loving soul. I mean, who cannot love a dog? If someone does not like a dog, I would be suspicious of this person. But mistreat a dog, that's not acceptable, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so the part in me that agrees with you says, okay, I agree with you, and I'm reminded of someone who has an incredible background. She's a very talented entrepreneur, but she's well, if she watches this someday, I want you to know that I was very happy the day I saw you taking a fall. That was very great. It's just that she was walking down the street and then boom, took a fall, and it was like yay, because she didn't really like dogs, and
Is she a friend?
and no, she was my boss, and I'm very glad that she took that fall because it was like I feel that justice has been served. But the thing is, it's just that she had dogs killed, and it was a really bad thing that she did. So I didn't like her, but according to all standards that people had, like, she's a great person. And by the way, I was checking on the internet for some articles that are related to what we're discussing here, and there's this article I sent you before our conversation. Did you have time to go over that?
Yes, I did.
Great. And I like that because she gives us 10, let's say 10 features or 10 characteristics that you have to have so you can be an admirable person, right? And that person I'm talking about, she had some actually. And I'm like, how come? Because she was very resilient, and she also kind of inspired others. And I would like to ask you some questions about what do you think about that? Because she sets, as I said, some standards, but are those standards really, how would I put it? Maybe should we really base ourselves on that, or base our behavior on that? For example, the first thing she says is that an admirable person has humility. And what do you think about that? What do you think? First, what is humility for you?
Yeah, humility for me is, well, it is, like it is said in the article, I mean, it is to have this capacity of being honest about where you're at and about the things that you lack, and also the things that you have accomplished as well, to have that capacity of not of being, maybe, can I say, down to earth?
Yeah, down to
Yeah.
earth.
Yeah. So I think it is a very important feature, because sometimes out of maybe vulnerability, we might want to, I don't know, can I say exacerbated our, to
Like
make them,
exacerbate.
exaggerate,
Exaggerate.
the, I mean, so that we won't feel that vulnerable or weak about who we are. So we might show that we are doing well, we are doing fine, but actually we know that we are not. So I mean, this capacity, I was listening to a podcast the other day, because sometimes I think about changing careers. I would love to be a diplomat one day.
That's great.
Yeah, but it is, I mean, I'm about to be 31, and people who wanted to do that, I mean, we were talking earlier, like, about you becoming, I'm not sure if I can say, a
Yeah, of course you can say it. It's like physical therapist.
physical therapist. So yeah, so I think it is very admirable, because so this podcast we're saying, this guy, Jay Chatty, his name is, he was saying that we are not afraid of failing. We are afraid of being seen, starting from scratch. We do not want people to look at us starting, sort
That's
of.
a good point. Like it's kind of, you're just a beginner, a rookie, an amateur,
Yeah,
someone who is just starting out, and you don't want to be perceived as someone who is just starting out, even after you are like 30.
yeah. Yes,
Hmm.
so that requires humility, to start to be in this position where you gave up on a career, and you just start, and you let people know, and maybe people who went to school with you, they will look like, what are you doing? You're pursuing another career, but I mean, you're living with your parents again. And I mean, so I think it takes a lot of humility and trust in who you are, or in your goals, in yourself, and being honest about it. Because I don't know, I think we wouldn't. I think most people, they wouldn't dare trying something new when they're older. It is too, I don't know, risky, and I'm not risky, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's just no. I don't think anything actually.
Come on, come on,
I
Ellie.
have a question. Some
No.
of our students, some of our students will remember that. It's like he's asking those questions again. No, okay. I will give you psych. I will give you some of my opinions about that, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate again, because
Okay.
you challenged some popular ideas.
Okay.
In this case, I think that if you want to start something after maybe change careers, like change horses midstream, maybe it takes, not maybe, it's actually, it takes a lot of courage. That's the first thing. And yeah, you have to be humble, but that's the thing, because like being humble, at least according to what as far as I know, as far as I can see, entails two parts. One, being humble about yourself with yourself, and be humble about yourself with others. Because, for example, I would like to know whether you consider this kind of person humble. Just imagine that John Doe is a very talented guy, and he knows that he's really good at what he does, and he is admired because of that. And when he takes compliments, he accepts the compliments, and he doesn't say, "Oh, no, I'm not so good." He says, "Yes, I'm good," because people compliment him, and he doesn't fish for that. He just accepts what people give. And if he says, "Yeah, I'm good. I know I'm not that good, but I know I'm very good," would you consider this kind of person humble?
I would, actually. Yeah.
Ah, good.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Before I would say no, you have to be like Saint Francis, and you have to accept everything. Like put your hands down here, and then lower your head, and then say thank you, but I'm not deserving. But no, yeah, if you think you're deserving, you can say so.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being like a braggart. You're not bragging about
Mm-hmm.
something. you actually can do that, then yeah, that's okay. But other people don't agree with us. Some people say, no, it's bragging and it's bad if you say that. What do you think? Do you think it's bragging, or do people have a point there?
Well, I don't know. I think it is expected. I'm not sure if in every culture, but
Hmm.
in our culture, in our Brazilian culture, every time I pay a compliment to someone, oh, what a nice shirt you're wearing. The person will say, oh no, it was so cheap. I just bought I got a discount. And will be like, it has to be hidden, the fact
Hmm.
that that shirt is great.
Yeah,
So I think it is awkward when you pay a compliment to someone and the person try to uh, avoid the
have a
compliment.
deflect, like
Yeah,
phew,
deflect.
like Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
yeah. And I feel embarrassed when I try to compliment someone and the person won't accept my compliment if it is genuine. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. So sometimes people will tell me, "Oh, you were nice teacher," and I'll say, "Thank you, thank you."
Oh yeah.
I just love
Yeah.
to do what I do. So thank you. I mean, if I agree, but if someone says something that I do not agree, and then I will say, "Oh, I don't believe that's accurate." But
Hmm.
thank you for thinking so or saying so. I would say that. I think it is, I think the first thing is honesty. If you
Hmm.
do think it's deserved, why not say thank you. I appreciate.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, I think it's a good point you raise, because talking about cultures, I know, for example, when I was learning Mandarin at
Mm.
first, I remember I said something like atrocious, really atrocious, with very bad pronunciation. Maybe word order was terrible too. But my teachers and my friends were like, "Yeah, you get it. It's very good, yay!" And then clapped, and I was like, "I don't think it was good, so I'm gonna say that it's not good." But after some time, I found that it was just a culture thing, because now that I can speak I can hold a conversation. I can hold my
You
own
teach
conversation.
Mandarin. Come on. Come
Yeah,
on.
but
You're being humble. Come on,
yeah,
Ellie.
no.
You
No,
teach
yeah,
Mandarin.
I can teach basic Mandarin, which is a good thing. I actually like it, and it's very good. But the thing is, now they tend to be more open and straightforward about that. They say, "Hey, you're not really, you're messing with those tones," or "I don't think that word applies here," or something like that. And I'm okay. I think this is
Hmm.
uh, a cultural aspect. Hmm.
Hmm.
So much for humility, because I still have other 9 features or 9 characteristics to go through. I picked out some
Hmm. Okay.
because I thought they were very interesting.
Hmm.
The first thing that she mentions is that you have to be humble if you want to be admired, and that we feel. I think she uses the word attracted and attract and attractive in a very particular way, because when she says like we are attracted by this kind of person, I'm not really attracted, but I like them.
Okay.
Oh, so another point that she makes is she says that people who are no. Let me cut to the chase here. Um, what do you think about the ability to learn? What does it have to do with being admirable? Because, for example, um, I had some professors, and if you, my professors, are watching this, and if you identify yourself with any one of those descriptions, this is not liable. Don't sue me. So I had some very great teachers who knew everything that they knew, but they were really terrible people. Like they didn't care about students. They, if it depended on her, on them actually, because it's more than one, uh, the whole faculty could maybe die because they didn't like their colleagues, and
Hmm.
the whole university could explode, and they couldn't care less. Then, but they could learn, and actually they were very great learners, very accomplished learners.
Hmm.
So in your opinion, how or what's the relation between the ability to learn and being admirable, according to what she says and according to what you think?
Wow. Your questions, they are so good. Wow, Ellie.
It's like lots of hours of training with the students, and they suffer it.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, okay. So, yeah, interesting point. You're saying that some of your teachers, they were incredible learners,
Mhm,
but they were not, I mean, they were not engaged or in love with teaching others.
mhm.
I think, well,
That's a very kind of you. Very kind of you.
yeah,
When you
when I
when you
put
put
it
it
this
like
way,
they were not in love. No. Okay,
I
good.
hit it.
Oh yeah. Oh, please go ahead. Ah,
Yeah. Um, well, I think we are in this life for a brief period of time, and I think life is all about learning. I
hmm,
think it is an incredible characteristic of someone to be eager to learn new things. I think when you are learning, I mean, when you start studying things just for studying's sake, just because you love it, because you want to know as much as you can with the amount of time you have, I think you become humble as well because you understand immensity
yeah,
of
the immensity.
the immensity of the universe, of everything that it is to know. And I mean, there are a lot of knowledge that even if we live, we couldn't, I mean, grasp. But there are a lot of things that are not even discovered. I mean, there's so much to learn. I mean, so I think it is a very strength to have, to know that you have to learn and you have to keep learning. And I think it gives you, I mean, motivation. I mean, a purpose. So I
Mhm,
really admire people who are learners. But yeah, for me, it is a bit contradictory what you said
mhm,
about your teachers, because I always see that people like that, they, I mean, why are they learning? It is not for learning's sake. It is probably to show off, maybe to have, I don't know, a lot of information and to be admired. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know, because to show off, because once you start learning, I think you care about helping others and passing on that knowledge. I mean,
Mm.
what do you think? Sorry,
Well,
I talked over
no, actually,
like a
we are
lot.
here to talk. We are here to talk, and please talk
I would like to
away.
listen to you more, though.
But actually, I see your point, and I think that it's a good-hearted one, if we can say so. Because when you say like when people are eager to learn, when they like learning, and when they devote a lifetime to learning, they tend to become more compassionate, maybe,
Yeah,
and um, considerate of others.
I think so.
But I think that's the same kind of logical relationship that we have between the fact that the that ostrich packed the president and the president being cured from COVID-19.
Hmm.
It's like we cannot really establish a direct relationship between
Hmm.
like being able to learn and being eager to learn and actually being a good human being.
Hmm.
Because I think that the best learners I've met, I've been very lucky to meet people like you, like our shared students, and some of the people. I've been really lucky, but I've been also very lucky to see the other side of the coin, because the flip side always shows us um, people like my professors. I had this professor, and she was very. I'm gonna say the gender, the she thing, because like my Portuguese mind just doesn't wrap itself around they as a neutral gender pronoun. But I really like the fact that they have this.
Yeah.
So there is this teacher, and she is really a great academic or academician. I don't know how you would put it, but she's a good scholar. She likes studying and she understands everything, but she hates people, really hates people. She's there because of the money, basically, and because she has to work, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't really born rich, I think. Um, the surname notwithstanding. But I think that the humanistic, no, let's say the upbringing and the studies are two separate areas. So you were brought up to be a bad person, or maybe you just had that in yourself, but you were brought up to like learning too, because that maybe fulfilled a specific role in your life. Maybe it was a tool to achieving a goal, which was like maybe recognition, maybe something. So I think my mom has a very nice saying, and she actually said that of me because sometimes I was very impatient. And she said, "I don't know why you go to college. You are such a bad person." And I'm like,
What? Your mom?
yeah, but it's
Wow, that's
and I think she summarizes what I want to say. It's like some people can go to college and like learning, but they may be bad too. It's like, and it's this thing that people think, and I used to think like that to a great extent, which was two things that happen, two things that should happen. Actually, those two things should happen at the same time in the same person. They should be good, and they should learn. They should like learning. It's just that it's not so common to find people who are good and like learning. Oh, no, people who are good and who don't like learning. Even if it's not like maybe academic subjects like mathematics and Portuguese languages and stuff like that, maybe they just want to learn about life, whatever they can learn, or maybe something about history, about people's lives and stuff like that. I think this is kind of learning too. But I'm digressing here. It's like, and I would like to just wrap up this point with this thing. Because when she says the ability to learn, I think, because she's not very clear, although she's good, she's not very clear about what you can learn. And I think that it's the ability to pick up knowledge, not only knowledge, but also practical knowledge to survive and to adapt. And I think she could have said adaptability, if that can be like being able to adapt to different circumstances according to your situation. I think this is a very admirable situation, a very admirable characteristic, a trait, the ability to learn how to be a different person, different in different situations. So what do you think about that?
Well, yes. I think being able to observe and how things are manifesting in a given time, and being able to adapt just to accept whatever it is that is happening. And yeah, I think it is going, how do you say, in favor to life, according to how, because everything is changing. And I think that that's the only constant that we have, like, and at the same time, if you are capable to just saying yes to how things are, and to cope with reality, it is a tremendous, quality, ability. It is difficult to cope.
Like going with the flow.
Going with the flow,
And
exactly.
like
Yes.
integrating.
Integrating. Yes. What do you think?
That's a good point. And actually, I think it's a good point, actually. But let's play devil's advocate again.
Okay.
Because we were talking about learning as like academic learning subjects. Then we brought this like life learning about life and stuff, which is a good point. And no, actually, like I think the devil's advocate says he lost this one. He's not going to.
Oh my god!
Because this is a very good and clear point, and we can agree. We can agree on that. But I'm going to bring a very hard topic for you. It's one that I think, again, the article, in those statements, she has some confusion in that, but she talks about responsibility. And before I bring up I broach the whole conversation about that, I would like to know from you, could you give me an example of a responsible person?
Ha ha ha. A responsible person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, for them.
No, I mean, in my life, I don't believe I have. I mean, I've been thinking about this topic lately because, I have a movie club with my students, and sometimes I will invite people to participate. And and sometimes people, they will tell me yes, but 1 hour before the meeting, some friends of mine, 1 hour or 30 minutes, and then I wouldn't have the chance, the opportunity to invite anyone else. They will, and I would text them, oh, so you're ready for the meeting? And, or they would tell me 1 hour before, or I would text them, I was counting on them, and then they would tell me, oh, I'm so sorry, was it today? Sorry, I cannot make it. And then I've been thinking about that because, whenever I have an appointment or agreement, I will put in my Google Calendar, I will make notes, and I will try not to forget. And I mean, I don't know. And I don't know. So I try to be responsible with the appointments that I make to others, at the same time that I'm not very responsible with the appointments that I have with myself. What is this?
I'm just counting. I have to do some physical things because, for example, my mind sometimes doesn't store the information I want. So I use the whole room here to store information. For example, here I have the first thing you said about like being responsible, the first definition, which is keeping your promises.
Yeah.
And the second one is like keeping your promises with yourself, or not keeping them, maybe. And then I'm putting that because when I look at this finger, I'm gonna be reminded of that. It really helps.
It is a technique that you created, or you read it somewhere?
Actually, I read about it. I read about it, about memory and the functioning of memory. And sometimes I use also the screen. For example, I get a subject and put it here. When I look back here, I see the subject, and then chung, I remember.
Wow, but how do you put it?
Like this. I'm gonna pick this subject about a memory, and I'll put it here, and then I'll get it back from here later on.
Amazing.
It kind of helps.
Wow. Fantastic. Yes.
It might be superstition too. Don't believe me.
No. No. Yeah. But that is amazing, I think. Yeah. Oh, okay. So so I think it is to keep your promise, to keep your promises, to keep your word. Not that things won't happen. They might, but I think it's an act of respect to, I mean, if it is something unpredictable, it is okay. I'm not intolerant. But I noticed that this happened to sometimes with the same people. And then I was like, okay, so yeah. So I think responsibility, we should be able to keep a word. And I think we are responsible for others. How we present, how we behave will impact or have an impact on others. So for example, as a teacher, it is my responsibility to be prepared for each lesson that I have, to be on time and to be there with my whole body and mind, and to want actually to be there or not be there at all. So I'm responsible for giving a great lesson, because that will have an impact on how my students see me and my entire culture and my country and my language and everything. We have an impact on others. It is bigger than we imagine. So I try to be very careful with that. It doesn't, I mean, I have a lot of flaws. Sometimes I can mess up, but I'm very critic of myself. Yeah.
That's not a problem if you're critical of yourself, because we all are, right? I'm very critical too, and sometimes I need help not to be so critical. But you mentioned 3 things, actually 4 things. You said like, I'll keep to 3. The 4th one I will say that later. You talked about keeping your promise, like for others, keeping your promise with yourself, and also being no. This one I need just some clarification. What are you afraid of if you are not responsible, or if you don't meet your expectations in those situations you just mentioned. For example, if you don't prepare a good class or a good lesson, or if you don't show up at the right time, or if you're just not in a good mood that day, or if you're not like in body and spirit, as we say here in
Mhm.
Brazil, in the lesson,
Mhm.
what do you think, what are you afraid of, or what do you fear?
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it is okay not to be okay. We have permission to be. I think we have to be aware of where we are at.
Mm,
And we've
mm,
talked about that once, and I remember you telling me that there were days where you were not okay for classes, but you were honest about that with your students.
mhm.
They sort of knew that you were not in a good day. Sometimes I'm a woman, I have days, you know.
Yep.
I have difficult days, very difficult
Huh.
days. So being honest with yourself and with the other. I mean, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to meet expectations. I mean, sometimes I think that my students, they are just happy to learn. The expectations I create for myself, I mean,
Huh.
they're there and they're having fun. They're having a great time, and I'm like with these things in my mind.
Uh-huh. So just to see whether I understand you correctly, in this case, then you're not really afraid of any punishment that might come from a third party,
Hmm.
but you are afraid of your, not afraid, but you don't want to disappoint yourself in
Yeah.
about that. Is that so?
It is. It is so.
Ah.
It is so. It is interesting. I heard something. I read something. I'm not sure who wrote it now, but I would check later. I have a notebook of quotes that I read,
Huh.
and then I
Good.
yeah. So there was a quote saying, "We are not what we think,
Mhm.
and we are not what the other person thinks. We are what we think that the other person thinks. We are not what we think we are, and we are not."
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is. Oh, so I'm not
Okay.
what I think I am,
Hmm.
and I'm not what somebody else thinks I am. I
Mhm.
am what I think somebody else think. So you see,
Mm.
it makes sense. So um, my idea of what
Huh.
you might be thinking of me is what I think I am. So I will try to react to that. You
Mhm.
see, so it is not what I think or
Oh.
what you
Hmm.
really think.
Hmm.
So if there was, I don't know, what is the movie that the woman was singing? I feel pretty. I feel pretty. I don't know. So
Good question. Hmm.
yeah, I
Ah.
how can I say I'm digressing, but
Yeah, but not a problem. Not a problem. I like it.
yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so it is if I think that you think that I'm not pretty or that I'm
Hmm.
not a good teacher, I will try to be pretty because I think that that's what you want me to do, but you never
Hmm.
said that. It is something that I thought you, because I think that you value, I don't know, beauty.
Hmm.
And you made some comments about that. So every time it is an example, hypothetical. So every time I'm in your presence, I will try to, because I will be, I don't know if it makes sense. I'll be,
Kind of contrived. Do you behave differently because of the perception you think I have of you?
yeah. So
Hmm.
I think I'm not afraid of anything bad happening or my own judgments. I think that that's what they want, but they never told me that's what they want. But I think I have to give them what they want. But what I think they want. Makes
It
sense.
just, yeah. There is a very specific image that comes to mind. Do you remember? I think it's David Luiz Pato. I don't know his name. It's a soccer player when Germany won the World Cup, like
Mhm.
7-1,
Oh my
and
God,
then he said,
they're horrible
"I
there.
just want to make my country happy," and I think that
I didn't know that.
he said, "I just wanted to bring happiness to my country," and
Oh,
because that was such a it was ugly. Like actually, I like that because I like good football. I like good soccer, but it was sad.
yes.
It was a sad thing. But it reminds me of him when you say like I want to be maybe pretty, good, liked, or I want to be accepted. And that's, I think, ultimately what we're looking for, acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Being accepted. But there is this other thing that your description brings to my mind this specific image. You just imagine like a bunch of smoke in front of the mirror, and you are the reflection of that smoke in the mirror. It's like you have no shape and you are not real because you are just the reflection of the smoke, because you don't really know exactly what the other person thinks, and it's just like a bunch of smoke. You cannot really see through, you cannot really see it for what it is. And then when you base yourself on that, and it's not really a sermon or anything, it's just that I see your point and I think that I have the same idea.
Really?
Because because we're just a bunch of smoke, right? We can just evaporate anytime. That's a good point. Wow, that's philosophical. I really like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Who
Yeah.
would have imagined, right? Aha. And just to bring the conversation to perspective, and the memory is still here. I'm going to talk about that because the memory was linked to this part of the conversation, the definition of responsibility. And usually, at least in my situation, I try to be responsible, and as much as possible, I am responsible. I try that. Sometimes, hey, Nubank, if you're watching that, don't take my words for it. And it's like, because they know, it's like they are stalking you and they know where you are, and it's not good. But okay, it's like when you're responsible for those things, you are probably going to be called out on if you just drop it. For example, if you don't teach a good lesson, maybe your student might not say it upfront, but might not be so upfront about it, but maybe the student just disappears.
Yeah.
It was because you didn't do your part, maybe. And this is responsibility. That's a very good point you made. I really like it. It's like I'm gonna go out of this conversation with lots of concepts that I didn't have before. Aha. And there's this thing that she says in the article about responsibility. She says these exact words, and I think that I don't agree very much with that, but I want your opinion on that. She says, people who finish what they have started, people who do not quit when things get tough, and people that we can rely on. So we have three different concepts here. People who finish what they have started. First, what do you think? Is this responsibility when you finish something that you have started? Or would you say, for example, you start a project and you don't finish it? Is it automatically going to maybe flag you as someone who is not responsible?
I don't think so, Ellie, no. But that is interesting. I haven't, where are you? You disappeared.
Oh, I'm here. I'm going to do like Shusha. You're going to see that.
Oh, okay. So I have been thinking about it. I'm
this.
Okay.
Shusha. Remember that?
Yeah.
Love you. Okay.
So I have been thinking about that because, we are both, we work from home. So we are responsible for everything we want to accomplish. We do not have a boss telling us that we have to do anything. When I miss being on college. Being told what to do is easy. When you when you have a boss. Or when you have a boss and you have you have things to accomplish and you can quantify them. You can see if you did it by the end of the month or you didn't. So we are responsible for our lives. So if we want something to happen, we have to go and do it. So what you said about starting and finishing things, we do not have guns in our heads. Can I say in our heads telling us?
It's not pointing at your head.
Yeah, but we we can change our minds, and sometimes we will be very judgmental of when we abandon projects. But if something is not bringing you joy, why would you punish yourself, make yourself going through hell if you're not joyful or interested about something anymore? So we have to be able to quit. I used to be very, whenever I started a book, I had to finish, even though sometimes it was torture. I have that concept that I could not ever drop a book ever. But if it is a bad book, I don't know. I thought I bought it. I bought it. I must read it.
My money, I have to make it worth.
Yeah, I have to read it. And even though I might not learn something, I mean, I'm improving my Portuguese or my English if I'm reading in English or Spanish, whatever. I must finish it. So I will think, oh, but most people like Breaking Bad, for example. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, I did like it, but I was watching and I hated the first season. But people were like, it started getting better after second season. But I wanted to drop, and in fact, I did abandon Breaking Bad at least 5 times because it was so boring. The first season and the second season was not great either. But I was like insistent, and I think I'm not sure if I think it was good, but after watching 15 episodes, I wanted to see how it ended, but I actually did like it. But we shouldn't, I mean, if you cannot see the benefits of something when you experience it a first time, why make yourself, I mean,
go through
that. So it is okay to start things and not finish them if it is something that you're doing, I mean, like in my case. But of course, if there are some people involved, I mean, I wouldn't cancel a student's package. I wouldn't do that unless, I mean, but I wouldn't.
Sometimes I did that. I've done that in the past. I'm guilty.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I have done that.
No, I'm
I have
kidding.
done
I'm
it.
kidding. Yeah.
Not, but so it is okay to abandon things, I think, if they're not bringing you joy. What do you think? It is okay? It is a lack of responsibility to drop?
No, I don't think it's a lack of responsibility. And actually, just to think about the package, I think that if life circumstances force you to do that, you should do that. It's like, and this goes hand in hand with what I am about to say, because you were mentioning that, sometimes why am I going to force myself to go through that experience, and it's going to feel like drudgery, and I'm not really going to like that. I'm going to dread it every day when I wake up and, oh my God, I have to read that book again. And actually, I think it's your birthright to abandon books midway if you want to do that. I have done that a lot.
Really?
Especially, if the book's back. No, there are 2 categories for me. There is the bad, and bad but readable. Usually
readable.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, I cannot really mention the bad books because I can't actually. I can. I sure can. For example, if it's bad, it's just because the story maybe doesn't resonate with me, and it's very hard for a story not to resonate with me because I'm really easy. If you give me maybe a label of a product, I'm going to spend hours reading that because I like it. Not because I like reading, because I like discovering new things, finding out stuff, and learning new things. If I could, I would live like 1,000 different lives. I could die now and then become you, and then die again and become someone else. Like Doctor Who. I like him. And I like the concept. And, because life is short, that's the first thing. And second, I've always been a kind of monomaniac. I've always thought of the same things since I was a child.
What does that mean? Sorry.
It's like when you think obsessively about the same things and you have only the same interests and you never change. It's kind of you grow old and you become more like yourself and more different from other people. It's like, and I've had very specific interests throughout my life. I've tried to diversify sometimes. like, oh, it's great that they're talking about maybe a very strange thing. The architecture in Budapest after the Second World War, when they had the uprising in 1950 something. I like that. And actually, that was very interesting. Not the architecture, but the history behind that. And the whole thing about the bullet holes and stuff like that. But the thing is, I've tried to diversify, but when I diversify too much, I kind of lose some of my strengths. And the word I want actually, it's, let me just check it because I don't remember how you'd say that in English. Isn't the okay, dilute. You dilute your existence. And I think of life like this. Life is concentrated existence. As much as you want, you cannot really be everything all the time. You have to choose, you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Because, for example, right now I'm a teacher. I was thinking about physical therapy, but it's not to have like a career in that. It's out of personal interest. And I want to become a physical therapist, kind of self-healing stuff. I want to treat myself. I want to be my best patient and my best client as well. And I would like to do that. I know it's not really diluting my power. It's not really diluting my existence. I'm concentrating on what I've done all my life, finding out about things that make life better or at least easier or livable. And when you abandon a book midway, you just say, I don't like that. You can hurl the book very, very, very strongly out of the window, like this. If you don't like it, you are entitled to do that if the book's bad. And I think that if you start things and don't finish them, there are two things involved. First is consistency. If you're not consistent, that's a problem, because if you want to accomplish something, you have to be consistent, at least in one area of your life. For example, I have some friends who are consistent drinkers. They drink a lot.
That's
Constantly. And they do it. They don't do anything else. Yeah, but they are very good talkers. And you can have very great conversations about drinking, for example. And yeah, that's interesting. They're consistent. Not my thing, okay, but I like that too. And the second thing is, like, if you want to try many things and you just want to start and not finish them, like, if you have the time and the money and the disposition, why not? It's just something that I wouldn't do, and I wouldn't suggest people do that with everything. They should be consistent, at least with one thing.
Of course,
but reading books, not really.
Oh, yeah. I think for me it works more. I'm very curious about things, so sometimes my students will tell me that they are into, I don't know, decorating rooms, and I think, wow, that's an interesting hobby to have. And then I will search everything about that, but then I will see, oh, it's not my thing. But I'm very curious about people likes and dislikes, people passions. So I might try a lot of things. I might try music and movies and everything that people recommend, especially if they tell me, oh, I think you should do that. And I love that when you do that a lot. I love it. When you send me a song and you tell me, I like that song, I think you might like it too. And I will hear with my heart open. But sometimes I might like, and sometimes I might not like it. So I'm very okay with dropping things. Like, no, I mean, I experiment them, like swimming. I have danced so many rhythms in my life, and if I don't like, I drop. Sometimes I will think things like, yeah, I will feel a little bit bad, like this lack of consistency. I will think that, oh, maybe if I have tried that longer. So for example, Zouk. Right now I started dancing Zouk. Do you know what Zouk is?
Is it like Zumba?
Well, it is. I'm not sure. I don't know what Zumba is actually.
It's like
That's That's bad.
Well, a good definition for that, according to my hometown, would be things. It's a kind of dance if you want to stay fit or
I
lose weight
know what
or meet
Zumba
your
is.
friends. Like people
Yes.
are on the parking lots, you know.
Yeah. It is like a share, sort of.
It's kind of let's say upper middle class ashe.
Oh, okay. I know what Zumba is. I know. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I would think maybe if I had tried that more, like Zouk, I would be an incredible dancer right now. And actually, I enjoy watching people dancing to Zouk.
Oh.
But I think I have this feeling that things needs to bring at least an instant joy. So, for example, people, there is this toxic, how do you say, self-help industry. I don't know, self-develop
I've been
industry.
there.
Yeah. So one of the things, I know you do that, but I know it is because you are like that. You like waking up early, right? You wake up at 5 a.m.
I'm helpless in this situation. I can help it because when I was a teenager, I was forced to do that, and then I could never kick the habit of waking up early. It's not because I like it; it's just because I can't help it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if you've seen this on this 5 a.m. club. That
no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
it's like I retch when I do that. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So I tried that. So if you do not, but if you do not feel like this instant gratification, sort of not, you have to feel good about it, at least a little bit. You have to have a little bit of taste of what might happen if you do that with consistency. Exercising, I don't exercise, but whenever I force myself to do so, I feel great about it. And then I think, why am I not doing that? It is so good. You feel good after. So you have to have this feeling like that is a good thing that I'm doing, or you have to be able to look long term and see the benefits of it, but you have to feel something now. But waking up at 5 a.m., I tried it. I felt terrible.
And just a quick word about, and two things. I think I have many great points. And just a quick thing about this 5 a.m. club, because it's like my parents have been in this 5 a.m. club since they were children.
Okay.
Because they were forced to.
It is not a new thing then.
No, it's not really a new thing. No. Like among us, the poor, it has always existed. And
yeah.
It's just a crazy thing that I see, like people say, oh no, if you wake up at 5 o'clock, it's like if you wake up at 5 o'clock, close one eye and try to wink, you're going to become a better person. No, you become a better person. You think about how bad you are, and then you try to grow out of it. And really, I don't really like that. But about this consistency thing, but you were consistent about many things in your life, probably. I've been reading some stuff, and maybe it's a kind of revelation to all of you guys who are watching this, but cut it out if I cannot talk about that, okay?
No, you can.
But absolutely. I know you have a blog.
Oh,
I do. Read your blog.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I've been reading your blog for a very long time.
Oh my
God! And you were very consistent. And I was checking, like, since 2000, like 2011, like about 9 years you've been blogging, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have been consistent.
Yeah.
I have this thing with myself that whenever I'm in love, I blog. So whenever you see a post,
very good entries. I like them all. They are very good.
Yeah.
And I think you write very good English, by the way.
I use English there. Yeah.
English and
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
My God, you have been reading my blog, really?
Yes, because I'm a kind of stalker.
Do you have one? I would love to read.
I used to have one, but I closed it because I'm gonna give you access to that. It's like it's closed for other people because it made me feel good, but I wasn't really consistent about only one blog. I have actually 5 blogs, 5 different ones. One is just for rants. I like
For each
it's
personality you have, right?
more or less. One of them
I'm
like,
kidding.
and one of them is about Portuguese because I really like
Okay.
talking about language and how people hate language and how people love language, the relationship with that. And it's in Portuguese. The other one is like, I was listening to this Portuguese podcast. It's from
Mm-hmm.
Portugal. It's called Extremamente Desagradável,
Okay. Very,
extremely unpleasant.
yeah, very
And
interesting pronunciation of Portuguese from Portugal.
yeah, but it's a very good podcast, and it's by Joana. Joana, if you're watching us, I love you. And uh, it's just because, yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I just want to tell you because I don't think many people watch my videos. But
I don't know, but
maybe this will be the video that will make my channel famous.
maybe or maybe
Maybe.
not.
Yeah, I believe that only my parents and Murilo watches it. Yeah. So hi, Murilo.
Oh, okay, so hi, Murilo. Nice to see you here. No, but you know, there some people sometimes you'll see if you keep posting consistently, and I think you have a great business idea. Not really business like I want to make money, but it can grow into a business actually.
Hmm.
Um, because people like that. People like seeing other people talking, and especially if it's in English,
Yeah.
it's a good opportunity for them to be exposed to the language. But about this this podcast I was talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
actually, it's actually a radio show. They air every day at 3 a.m. in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and she just rants. She talks, she complains and rants and mocks and does beautiful things with the Portuguese language. And I suggest my students listen to that, but usually because they speak Brazilian Portuguese, not Portuguese from Portugal, they cannot really understand everything that is said.
Mm-hmm.
Although if they can like make an effort, and it's a huge effort, they can understand that. She's really, it's beautiful. Her Portuguese, you know, it's tangible. You can touch it, you can feel it, you feel like enveloped by it.
Oh.
It's nice and warm. You like it, and the how fluent she is, how really well she chains each idea. She concatenates those ideas
Mm-hmm.
and puts them together. It's beautiful, but it's a bad show. About like, it's to complain, and I wanted to reproduce in writing what she did in speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to do that, but I think it was too acid sometimes, and it didn't really, how do I say? It was pleasant to me, but I think one of the blog posts I had about 50 Shades of Grey,
Oh, did you read 50 Shades
I
of Grey?
I read because so many people were reading that, and
Yeah.
I have to confess.
Yeah,
Uh,
I did it too. I do not always confess that, but
hmm.
I actually read it.
Oh, if people ask me what kind of reading I'm doing, they would be maybe they would blush at least. But right now
Oh,
I'm
really?
reading some family stuff. Yeah, something by Michel Foucault.
Mm-hmm.
He has this book about the history of madness, which is very
Oh,
good.
cool.
8 pages into it, and I want to kill myself. It's a very good book.
Mm-hmm.
And but about this blog post, I posted this thing about 50 Shades of Grey, and I read it. First, why did you read that?
Ah, in 2013 or 14.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You?
Oh,
Some months ago?
no, actually, a few years ago,
Okay.
maybe 4.
Yeah.
And
I was very
and
young.
why were you compelled to pick this book? You could be reading something by Dr. Seuss or something like
Hmm?
wholesome. Why did you choose 50 Shades of Grey? Now I'm curious.
I am curious about why did you choose it too, but yeah, so
Okay.
uh, you tell me first or I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
just because, you're welcome. It's just because it's like this. I was reading some historical literature, and there is this book. Oh my gosh! If my students see me now, uh, it's a French book, Thérèse philosophe,
Mm-hmm.
Philosophie du boudoir, ou quelque chose comme ça. I don't really remember what the whole title was, but it's a very interesting book because in the Middle Ages, they didn't have the press, they didn't have Epson or any other printer, so they couldn't have easy access to books. So the books that they had access to, and when I say they, I say they, the poor, were or had to be interesting books and books that were really read. You can't really publish something like, I read the other day, a very interesting book. It was published by Vanity Press. It's a kind of company that you go there and say, hey, I want to publish a book. And then, yay, it's great. And then they edit it for you. They sometimes write it for you. They print it for you, and they don't distribute it. It's like they give you 500 or 1,500 copies of those books, and you pay top dollar for that. It's really expensive. And this guy published this book, and I digress a lot. This guy published this book called The Three Indian Guinea Pigs, something like that. It's about him and his family. And it's an interesting piece of freak show because because of his pictures or stuff like that, but because of the things that he tells. I'm going to send you this book, and I think you might agree with me. But okay, so I was reading this book. I was reading actually about literature in the Middle Ages, and then I knew, I learned that most of the books that were published, the books that were really like written and copied by hand, they were in libraries of the royalty, like people who were really rich, the kings. And then the books that were published and that the poor reached and could read usually were salacious books, like really racy stories with lots of sex and stuff like that. And I was like, my gosh.
Wow.
And they copied that, and they had so many books being published and being copied by hand and being smuggled between countries, because, for example, they copied a book in France and then they would smuggle it to Germany and then to some of the Italian nations, like, let's call it, because they were like many different countries back then. And then it was a very lively publishing zone they had there, because they had books going everywhere, but usually they were what we would call today porn. And then I was reading that out of academic interest. And then people were talking, oh, you're reading that? It's old stuff. You have to read 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm like, what? And they said, no, it's really like salacious, it's sexy, it's empowering, and it's this, that, blah, blah, blah. And the style is so good, you're going to really love it. I'm going, okay. Wow. Then I forced myself to read that, but I didn't really force myself. I went to the library, and I usually the college library is a kind of, it's the place I dwelt. I really liked that. And then I spent maybe every day 2 or 3 hours just roaming about and choosing some books and picking out like, you know, I like this one, I like that one. Then I picked out the book. And then there was this 50 Shades of Grey beside a book about Scientology, which was very interesting too, by Janelle Hubbard or something. And then I got that book and I said, okay, I'm going to read that crap. And I read that in 3 hours. I was like,
wow.
Okay. Ah, interesting. Oh, now again? I can't believe that. And because,
again?
Yeah, because I like it, but no, it's not that I like it. I like the fact that it got famous because it shows that this kind of literature can, pardon me the pun, this kind of literature can penetrate the society and that like people's homes, and then can show up there and people are like, wow, discussing that because at least they're not so prude. But then the thing that I saw was there were so many quirks this writer had. Like all of the descriptions were the same. For example, if they had the climax, they had the same kind of description, even the same word order. It's like, and then she shattered it in 1,000. No, she broke it because I read the Portuguese one. She shattered it in 1,000 pieces, and then she shattered in 1,000 pieces, and I'm like, wow, can't people just say yay or something like that, or something different? And then there were 60 pages of the about the document that they had to sign, and the email exchange stuff, and I was like, okay. Then I bought the second volume, and I bought the third one because it was if we convert to dollars, it was just 50 cents of dollar.
50 cents a dollar was not expensive.
Two books.
Okay.
It was close to college because people didn't like that book, and I think that they just wanted to get rid of that. And then I read the the trilogy, and I was like, why is that a thing? It's like, I really didn't understand that. But I read because I hated it beforehand, and now I hate it after too. That's
wow.
That's my motivation. But I don't judge if people like that. It's like, now, Camila, please tell me, why did you choose to read? That was a signal, okay? So, why did you choose to read 50 Shades of Grey?
Well, I just love your story. Mine is not interesting at all, but the reason, the reason was that my aunt, she read it, and then she said that she was 40 by the time she read it, and she's a lawyer. She's a very serious person, the type of person, Christian, that I would never figure would read in my small city, 5,000 people population. And she read it, and then she recommended, like, she said, so I read 50 Shades of Grey, and I decided to have a baby after reading it. And then I was like, why? And then she said, you must read it. I'd rather not say it. You must read it. And then I was like, okay. And then I decided to read it. And then, I think I understand why she decided to, I mean, not why she decided to have a baby, but I think the baby was some sort of consequence, to what she decided to do.
That's a very different conclusion to come out with after reading a book. It's like, I think I'm going to have a baby. But okay.
It was that. I was like, why? And she's, no, I prefer not saying it. You must read it. And I was like, okay. So, I didn't want to have a baby after I read it. No.
Yeah, and if I were a woman, someone said, oh, I just read this book, and because of it, I want to have a baby, I would never read that book. Because it's like,
yes.
Yeah, like, just imagine, go figure why people do that. It's like, what? Okay, so then you read it, and after you read it, you didn't want to have a child, which is okay. Like, not everybody wants to have a baby after reading those things, but and then what did you think of it?
I think, well, I remember thinking it wasn't bad, because people, they were complaining about it, saying really bad things about it. There was not literature, there was garbage. I think it's not great, but it is unbearable. It is not unbearable. I mean,
bad but readable.
Bad but readable. Yes. Yeah. Interesting point. Yes.
This is the kind of thing, because that's why I bought 2 more books, because like, it was bad but was readable.
Do you still have them? The second
I have
and third?
only the second book.
Okay.
It's like 50 Shades Darker, I think.
Yeah.
It's a simple one, and I bought it in English because that's why it was cheap, because it was English and nobody was reading that, and then the bookseller just wanted to get rid of it, and then he sold it.
Oh, cool, amazing. Yeah.
So now memory was here. Let's get back to responsibility, because
amazing how you did this.
There's just a last point, and I think that we can finish our conversation after that one, because I think it's gonna give you a hell of a trouble to edit everything.
I will do that gladly, happily.
But there's just one point that you have really to edit. And just a quick thing. The third thing that she talks about responsibility is that people we can rely on are responsible. Do you think there is a connection between reliability and responsibility?
Hmm. People we can relate to are responsible.
Hmm.
Well, yes, I think so. If you, I think we humans, we can, whenever things are sort of, whenever we cannot trust things, we can drown, to chaos. And it is not a very good place to be when you cannot trust certain things in your life. And I think when you relate to someone and that person you cannot trust,
Yeah, because you cannot rely on this person really.
yes. So I think it is not a good place to be when you admire someone, when you rely on someone. I think there is a great connection
Hmm.
to that. What do you think?
I think those have to go hand in hand. Because if you're responsible but not reliable,
Yeah,
it's kind of a paradox.
yeah.
Because like I can count on you for doing things, but I cannot really count on you for doing things. How come? So I think they should go hand in hand. Although I can see where there is a divide. Because, for
Oh.
example, there are people I trust in some aspects, but I don't trust for everything.
Hmm.
For example, let me bring you an example, a, a more accessible example, because those are my friends, and um, I would have to give you too much context, maybe. But in this case, for example, there is a writer I know, not I know, but I know of,
Mm-hmm.
and she's dead, by the way. She was a horrible person in life. Horrible when I say horrible, like really horrible,
Mm-hmm.
but she was lovely at the same time. Um, oh, by the way, her name is Patricia Highsmith,
Mm-hmm.
the one who wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley. And she
Mm-hmm.
was horrible, but you could trust her, and she was very responsible to deliver her work. If she said, I'm going to write a novel about that, she was going to write a novel about that, and you could count on that. That was uh, granted, guaranteed. You knew that that was going to happen, but you couldn't really rely on her if you needed her friendship, as she stated herself in her diaries and her interviews. She didn't trust people, she didn't like people, she didn't like anybody, and people
Oh
didn't
wow.
like her in general. But she's a great writer, and you could rely on her. You could count on her for these things. So I think they have to go hand in hand, but they can. That's a funny thing. They have to, but they maybe not be together in the same person at the same time in all circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing. Oh, Ellie, thank you. Thank you for this lovely conversation.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
really lovely and entertaining. I really like that.
I would talk to you for hours, hours. Yes,
And we
thank you.
covered only 3 points. We have 7 more.
Wow, imagine. We would have to be here for another, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 a day.
Maybe for another episode.
Yes.
Because there is this thing about big vision that I really want to know your opinion about. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank
So
you. Thank you
thank you
so
very
much.
much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I admire you as a person, as a teacher, as I already said. Please
Mm,
accept my compliments.
thank you.
Yeah. And I loved answering to your questions and hearing your opinion as well. So thank you so much for being a part of this project. I'm sure that one day we'll be like, you're 31 too, right? You are 31,
32.
32. So
Yeah,
we'll be 62, 61 looking back at this episode. And I hope we are happy and yeah.
that's why I say put it up on YouTube and we'll look back at this video when we feel like, how did I change? And then we can see whether we changed our minds about many of the things we talked about. Probably not. but
Yeah.
we might have changed something. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So thank you very much, and
Thank you.
I hope to see you very, very soon.
We will see each other soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.